So now we're going to mount it onto the carrier sheet. It's always a good idea to put the least amount of print against the adhesive of the carrier sheet. The reason for that is that sometimes the printed matter is lifted by the adhesive on the carrier sheet, especially when it's a new sheet. Now this one is quite an old one, you can see it's been well cut, and don't forget that when it becomes less sticky to the point that it won't hold down the card, you can wash these in lukewarm water and washing up liquid and you'll get 90% of the original stickiness back. So let's place our card as we did before, top left hand corner, smooth it down so we put the least amount of print against the adhesive, and we're going to cut from this side. So it's this file page that we bring up on our computer, because this is where we're cutting from. So it's going to be file 1 that we bring up, and that's what we're going to use to cut. We place it as before, ensuring that we can just see that line there, and winding the feed screw so as the card goes right the way across to the far side of that black tape that's on the bed of the machine. We just have to check we've got the cutter in and not the pen, so we have the cutter, and again making sure that that web there of plastic is pointing along the bed of the machine. We're now ready to start to cut this out. It's sometimes a good idea to place this down, because we're going to be using the auto registration system, and the auto registration system is built into here. It sends a beam of light to pick up these auto registration marks, and if the light above you or sun coming in through the windows is too strong, it will obliterate that beam. So if it is bright in the room you're working in, then it may be advisable to place the lid down. On this occasion though, I'm going to leave it up so as you can see what's happening. Let's now go ahead and cut it out. Right, so let's cut it out, and we've got to make sure that we've got the right file on the page. Now this is file 2, and we're not cutting file 2 out, we're cutting file 1 out, because file 2 has the least amount of print of the two, and therefore we put that against the adhesive backing of the carrier sheet. So let's go and choose file 1, which was the inside of the card. As before, we always go to the output settings. Click on that, cut line settings, and we get our colours. Now you see we brought in more colours, and whenever we bring in colours, that obviously is the printing, you must always untick them, because we only want 2 colours to be ticked. We only want the black one for the outside and the ellipse, and the red one, the dashed there. The other colours that we filled with, we want to get rid of. So let's undo those and say OK. Go to Output to Craft Robo and say OK, and the machine will talk to us. So here we're back to our 6 stages again. This time we've got to remember that when we get to registration marks, we must tick it, because it will then search for those marks, and therefore we'll cut in exactly the right position in relationship to the print that we've got on the page. Media type, we've got the cutter in position, so we say next. we've also got the yellow cap in position, so we say next. It's still landscape, so we say next. We've loaded it into the machine, so we say next. Now we've got the auto registration mark, so let's tick it and then we say next. We're now going to say cut, and this is when the machine will start looking for those auto registration marks. So let's now just click cut and it will jump into action looking for those marks. Okay, it's found the registration marks, so now we're ready to cut. So let's just click OK, and the machine jumps into action, and we'll cut out the final product. Okay, so it's cut it, so we'll just lift it out again, just wind it out via the feed screw. And remember, this is your finished product, so carefully lift from the carrier sheet. You will find it becomes a lot easier when the carrier sheet has been used a few times. Lift it gently, pulling it towards you. We've now got a nice flat card. So as you can see, we've moved from the hand prototype through using the CAD program with the biro, finally to our printed product, showing all four sides and mounted on card. So there we have our finished product.